Hartland.
Yeah.
We got quite a response. We didn't know we had that many, you know. And they brought in all our mementos and so forth.
Yeah.
There's Stephen Collins. He was a. We got a lot of his records.
Huh.
We started with the Vietnam War here. I know you probably know some of these men.
Probably.
Doug Johnson.
I'm not really sure.
Here's his uniform.
Johnson.
Gary Sosowski. Rob Davis out there cooking hot dogs.
He's out there cooking hot dogs.
Yep.
Jerry.
Any of these names sound familiar to you?
Just Robbie out there.
East Hartland.
Tchaikovsky, I don't know. Huh.
George Ryan.
George Ryan.
East Hartland. Burton Bolt.
Well, that's Tchaikovsky's uniform back there.
Yeah.
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 And this is who? Ryan?
This is Davis.
Well, that's Davis.
Yep. Rob Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's him. Rob.
Yep.
Huh.
We got the service records, you know, and whatever
Yeah.
else they could donate.
Good for you.
George Ryan. That's his ship.
That's great.
Burton Bolt. He was from East Hartland. Donald Dewey. He lived right up here, 2 houses up on the right-hand side. He died
Really?
about 5 years ago.
Huh. In the Air Force.
And here's our military statistics from Hartland. We had 347 men in the Revolutionary War from Hartland.
Wow, in the Revolutionary War.
Yep, that's about the whole population,
Yeah.
male population of Hartland, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's quite a record.
You betcha. War of 1812,
Yeah, where's
Civil
that?
War,
On the bottom?
Civil War here.
Yeah.
That's as far as we go.
Civil War.
Oh, we got World War II. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Civil War. And the Revolutionary. War of 1812.
Yep.
Oh. It's Korea.
You know Jerry Burrell?
No.
He lives right across from the cemetery in East Hartland.
Really?
He passed away about 2 years ago, yeah. Very nice person. I knew him personally.
Yeah.
He did a lot of work with the Lions Club.
Oh, look, there's a name I recognize.
You know this guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Look at that. Now, is that Staff Sergeant?
What's that? Sergeant First Class.
Sergeant First
Yeah,
Class.
yeah.
Oh, with 3 stripes for staff?
Yeah, three in the top, 3 in the bottom, the master.
Whoa. Yeah.
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 Staff Sergeant's 1 rocker under.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Airborne. So you jumped. Yeah.
Not airborne, the Ranger Airborne.
The Ranger Airborne. Oh,
Okay.
that's right.
Yeah.
An instructor, besides.
At the end,
How many times did you jump?
19.
That's all?
Yeah.
My gosh.
That's enough.
You're telling me it's enough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want one.
And this is Walter Yanchek. He lives right down on the corner of 20 down here.
Yeah.
And
Gunner's mate.
he always points out his position on this aircraft carrier. He was a gunner right here.
Oh, you can see him right there, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Mike Silkey,
Silky.
Mess Sergeant.
Yeah.
You know Billy.
Oh, Bill Flagg.
You know Billy Watson?
Oh, no. Oh, the reflection right on him. There he is.
An old Bill flag.
Bill Flag, my buddy.
Yep.
Yeah. And Buddy Bill.
You remember his nickname?
No.
Boss Hog.
What, Boss Hog, really?
You know that the Boss Hog on the
Yeah, on TV?
that's down in the TV? Yeah.
Yeah. The Boss Hog. Well, he was the boss.
Yep.
Bill Flag. And who's this guy?
And this is my son-in-law's aunt. She was a nurse in England.
Oh, yeah?
She was telling me a lot of stories about all the guys coming back with no arms. And
Yeah.
She took care of them, you know.
Huh. And Rose?
Yeah.
Well, that's her. That's the same one.
Yeah, she joined the
Military.
reserves after. And Dorothy Mueller?
Huh. No relation to me.
No.
Oh. Dorothy Avery Miller.
See, we got a lot of nice mementos from the guys that
Yeah.
was in the Navy 2.5 years and never saw a ship or never saw the ocean. They
Really?
put them in Salt Lake City, Utah.
In Utah, in the Navy?
Yeah, and that was the area where they took all the old naval bombs and shells.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
defused-
destroyed 'em?
Took them apart.
Yeah.
They used to put him into a bunker by himself, and they had to take the fuses out. with hammer
Yeah?
and
Oh,
chisel.
great. I'm care for that job.
Yeah,
Who's this guy? Getz?
yeah. George Getz. He lived right up across from Mabel Cole's house. Over there. Yeah.
That's a great collection.
Now we got a. Remember I was telling you about
Yeah,
the
the
Charvel?
rifle. Yeah.
The Charvel is on the bottom. The top is a British Brown Bess
Uh-huh.
used in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah. Look at that.
We got some Revolutionary War money too.
Whoa. Huh. Must be. Harry Osborne.
Eddie was a maintenance man who did, fixed tanks and everything.
Yeah.
And he had German prisoners welding for him, and they made him this.
Oh, I saw that.
All
Somebody
German
had that,
shells.
showed
These are
that.
all German shells.
Yeah. For heaven's sakes. They made a bunch of them, I guess.
And then it's Warren Kennedy. I never knew him, but he was a prison camp supervisor. And the German soldiers made this out of their uniform and all their rifle stocks.
Really?
That's their rifle stocks, yeah.
Pretty good.
You remember Timmy Root?
Nope.
Yeah,
Timmy Root?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he used to follow the parade dressed up like a clown with a
Did he
wheelbarrow,
really?
follow the horses and
Yeah.
pick up.
Oh, could pick up?
Pick up, yeah. Yeah. They used to
Timmy
call him-
Root.
His name was the Clown.
Really?
Yeah,
And which one is he?
down here.
Oh, down
Yeah.
there.
And
There's another
Stanley
one.
Ransom, the first probate
Yeah.
judge
Uh-huh.
from East Hartland. World War I, he was a clerk.
Yeah. He one that wrote the book called Records of
Yes,
Hartland? Yeah.
he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
In fact,
instrumental.
I think he lived in my house at one time.
Probably did, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think so.
I know he lived up in Granville for a while. He
Yeah.
came from Granville, yeah. And Mr. Mueller,
Another one.
yeah,
Frederick Muller.
World War I.
Really? World War I. 1917 and 18. Gosh. Who's the other guy? Oh, that was him?
That's the medical officer's uniform that I got about 30 years ago. I bought it.
Oh, yeah?
Part of my collection, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But the helmet and everything, I don't know who it belonged to. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And these are the
You're kidding. From here?
Company A, 15th South Carolina Regiment. No, they were from South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were the first to join.
Yep.
Wow.
When 2 months before the Civil War started, the governor of South Carolina called the Rifle Regiment up. They arrived on the train 2 months before the war started.
Oh my God.
I have their records where they got off the train.
Yeah.
Every one of them. 6 of them were killed, 3 wounded,
Hmm.
and 2 survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. That picture was taken February 1861.
1861.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How many of them were there?
12.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 brothers, Stephen, who lived in Harlem,
Uh-huh.
and Stephen lived in East Hartland, and Giles lives here,
Uh-huh.
and
What was her name?
and then it was Stephen Giles, and I forgot the other guy's name, but this was Stephen's son right here, and I found this picture in his letter in this attic when old Mrs. Shepherd lived here back
Really?
in 1954.
Wow.
And the letter was from him. He's right here. He's one of the guys right here.
Yeah.
He wrote a letter home to his mother, Fanny Lawton, that says to Hartland, Connecticut from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, saying that he'd be home in a month. He was killed 2 weeks later at the Battle of Irish Bend. Yeah. And inside was his picture he had taken, and they said, "Give this to Uncle Stephen," who he was
Really?
named after.
Yeah.
He was a great-grandson of Samuel Blakesley, who was a Revolutionary War
Yeah.
officer in the Hollow.
Huh. Is that him in the picture there?
Yeah, that's him here, yeah. And that's
No, in the middle there.
that's the other one who.
Hartford each morning, early morning, by Will Hayes. Now, relatives of the Gorses are here today. We have, is Joe Kane here? Actually, I didn't see him yet. Okay. So relatives are here. Is Joe Kane? He is the son of Agnes's sister. Was it Mary or Molly, Joe?
Either one, Molly.
I was confused. I saw it 2 different places. So Molly/Mary. And Joe's daughter, Roxanne. Well, now we're going to have Roxanne come and read from Agnes's words about Days of Blueberries. Roxanne?
Thank you. First, I'd like to ask you, how many people here today paid their mortgage with blueberries? That's what I thought. Agnes was my great aunt. She was my grandmother's little sister. But for me, Agnes was like a grandmother because my real grandmother passed away long before I was born. So this is what Agnes wrote about blueberries. Hartland was famous for its blueberries in the early 1900s. Every farm had blueberry fields. I remember July and August mornings long ago when right after breakfast, I tied a pail around my waist, donned a big straw hat, and started out with all the family, except Mother. I think Mother was in the kitchen cooking, for the blueberry field. We picked all morning, came in for lunch, measured the morning's pick, and then went back to do more picking. At night, all the berries were measured and packed into 32-quart crates and taken to Hayes' store. Will Hayes, better known as Huckleberry Hayes, would pile his horse-drawn wagon high with blueberry crates and start off soon after midnight in order to reach Hartford for the early morning market. He paid us whatever he got. 30 cents a quart was the high, 5 cents the low. I think now at the farmer's market I might have paid $5 a quart. But we were happy with whatever we received. He always told us he had no trouble selling Hartland blueberries because Hartland had the best blueberries. Now the fields are grown up to woods. The cows are gone that roamed the pastures and kept the bushes down and the pathways open. It was a happy time, and we who lived through it remember it with pleasure. Agnes Gorse.
Hayes history, and I don't mean hazing, I mean the Hayes family. The Hayes line in Hartland was started by William Lorenzo Hayes, Huckleberry, as you know, born in 1849. He came to East Hartland from West Granby. It is he who started the general store located in East Hartland, then known as the W.L. Hayes store. He married Ida Mae Emmons of East Hartland, and they lived in the house where Thelma Deline now lives on Peterson Road. The store was owned and run by the Hayes family until it burnt down in the 1980s, I think 1986. Will Hayes' wife, Ida Mae Emmons' family goes back through her father, Warren Emmons Jr. Warren Emmons Sr., born in East Hartland, married Rhoda Coe from West Hartland. Warren Emmons Sr. is the son of Dr. Jemiah Emmons, born in East Haddam. Jemiah served in the Revolutionary War and became the first doctor in Hartland. He died East Hartland 1790. Relatives here today, I don't know if Esther and Sally are here, are they? I haven't seen them. Nope. I mentioned that because Esther Hayes Laubin is 100 years old this year, so she didn't make it today. Roxanne will now read an article written about Hartland blueberries and Will Hayes / Huckleberry.
This article was at some time printed in the Hartford Courant, and I'm only going to read parts of it because it's quite long. And it says, this week, William L. Hayes, a veteran dealer in the produce of the place, brought in 175 bushels. This enormous amount supplies every grocer in town and the various restaurants who sell blueberry pies. And by the town, I believe they mean Hartford. Last night, Mr. Hayes brought in 68 bushels, and before noon today, he expects to get rid of his entire load. The season for blueberries lasts from the end of June to the middle of September. When the season is backwards, the berries which have grown in shady places can be picked until October 1st. Mr. Hayes stated last night that he would sell over 1,000 bushels in the market this summer. At the end of the season, there's a grand settling of accounts. Mr. Hayes has a grocery store in East Hartland where he keeps the record of all the berries brought in. If this record were lost, the whole town would go into bankruptcy. The price of blueberries in East Hartland is 0.8 cents a quart. Here in Hartford, it is 0.10 cents a quart. And that's
Thanks again. She's going to be accompanied with her granddaughter Emily to show us how it goes. Now, here's the kicker. Once they have demonstrated the dance, we would love all interested, young and old, to come on up, and we are all going to try the Blueberry Shuffle. And we want to start a new tradition here at the Blueberry Picnic. So please, I will now let Mary and Cindy will come back up, but I want to make one more comment. And during this time, I would love it if you please keep your places. We will have guest speakers after they do their dance, so we really would like your attention for that. We have a few special speakers about our military exhibit. So please enjoy the Blueberry Song and Dance.
Okay, well, I guess you're getting all the words. And And this song, it's called Blueberries Wild because it was really hard to write something with blueberries. So I had to kind of switch the syntax so I could rhyme with wild. It worked a lot better. So it's called Blueberries Wild. It's on the CD that I have for sale over at the items table. And the CDs are $10, and if you buy one today, half the proceeds will go to the Historical Society. And half will go to me. Somebody said, did you pay your mortgage, with blueberries? And I'm paying off the cost of making the CD with blueberries. But as you get the words, you'll know the whole song. And there's a little story in there about one time when we were picking berries, and it was actually just behind over here. And do y'all remember Mrs. Brockaway's farm right next door? One of her pigs had gotten out and had been out for quite some time. And we were out picking blueberries, and I guess this pig decided to come visit us, but by this time was quite ornery and wild. And we were all taken aback and scattered like crazy, except for my father. He caught the pig, which was amazing, with his belt. And then he picked him up, and he slung him over his shoulder and walked him back down to Mrs. Brockway's house, with all four of us kids with our little buckets walking behind him, and people driving going by going, what do people in Hartland do? So that's a true story that's in there. And his name was Ernest. And I'm not sure what's going to happen here because
Emily,
we haven't coordinated it.
she's passing out the word.
She's passing out the words.
So basically what we're going to do is Cindy's going to sing,
I'm going to sing,
and then we're going to dance,
and she's going to dance.
and then everybody's going to join us, and I made you each a blueberry bucket. So you're going to take your blueberry bucket because Emily and I will show you how you're going to use your little blueberry bucket. So here's Emily. Here we go.
So am I supposed to start now?
Sure.
Okay. I have no idea what's about to follow. I have memories so sweet of my family and me when we would get together when I was just a child, and we'd wander and roam on a Sunday afternoon in search of those beautiful blueberries wild. My mom would sing a song, even Grandma came along. Me and my brothers and my sis would follow Daddy close behind, and we'd all give a shout when we heard him holler out that he'd found another patch of those blueberries wild. And we'd sing, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Oh, we'd run over quick and we'd all start a picking. I would pick the low ones and my sis would pick the high. And we'd race with my brothers to see who could beat each other, filling up our little buckets with blueberries wild. And we'd sing, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Oh, one day we heard a roar from Ernest the boar, who'd escaped from Mrs. Brockway's farm a whole year ago. Daddy wasn't scared in the least. He caught that wild beast and he slung him on his shoulder and carried Ernest home. And we sang, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Oh, now I am grown and the farms are all gone, and there's no cows left to keep the brush from growing too high. But the memories are sweet. I remember when I hit another handful of beautiful blueberries wild. And I sing, pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, and we'll make some pie. Yum.
These lovely blueberry pails that you get to take home.
Okay, Mary is asking for participants.
Come on, just a few of you, a short version. Come on.
So everybody's got a partner.
Okay, just a couple rounds, ladies. I noticed there's no gentleman brave enough to try this feat.
Come.
Oh, we have a gentleman.
Right, you need a little bucket.
I had memories so sweet of my family and me when we would get together when I was just a child, and we'd wander and roam on a Sunday afternoon in search of those beautiful blueberries wild. My mom would sing a song, even Grandma came along. Me and my brothers and my sis would follow Daddy close behind, and we'd all give a shout when we heard him holler out that he'd found another patch of those blueberries wild. And I'd sing, pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Oh, we'd run over quick and we'd all start a picking. I would pick the low ones and my sis would pick the high, and we'd race with my brothers to see who could beat each other, filling up our little buckets with blueberries wild. And we'd sing, pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Miss, now I am grown and the farms are all gone, and there's no cows left to keep the brush from growing too high. But the memories are sweet. I remember when I ate another handful of beautiful blueberries wild. And I sing, pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, and we'll make some pie. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket. Pick a berry, put it in a bucket, then we'll make some pie. Yum.
Thanks, Cindy, Mary, and Emily for starting us up.
Okay.
Now, if I could just have your attention for a short while longer, we're going to speak about our military exhibit that's upstairs. We have a few special guests today, and they will end the program. They are relatives of the military personnel exhibited in the Gaylord House. So before that, I would like to say a few words about the exhibit. Now, while I gather the information, the artifacts, the uniforms on each of these individuals, I was struck by the diversity of each of their service duties. Not everyone is on the front line shooting, as my mind would first come to when I hear someone served. You will see by just reading their name and their title what they were responsible for. Read further and you will know where they were stationed, what their duties were, and when they came to Hartland. With their service, they sacrificed. But they also came back with some learned skills, a stronger character, and even a sense of accomplishment. This is just a sampling to honor all Hartland men and women who have served from the Revolutionary War to the present. Please take the time to view the exhibit before you leave, or come back another day if you can't. So now I would like to first introduce Heather Lehman. She's our first speaker. She's a Hartland resident, and she will share her memories of her father, Doug Johnson, who served during the Vietnam era. We have his uniform and photos on display upstairs. Heather.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? I'm a little taller. Good afternoon. I'm Heather Lehman, and my family has lived in Hartland for 27 years. My father, Douglas Johnson, was in the Army and was ranked as SP5 in Company D, 84th Engineer Battalion. He was in charge of the battalion, cleared the roads for the armies to go through. He served 2 tours in Vietnam from 1969 to 1971. Anyone who knew my father knew he was a man of few words, and talking about his war and military experience was no exception. Having been younger when my father passed, I never got the opportunity to really talk with him as an adult about what he experienced. What I do recall very clearly was a short but very meaningful conversation with my dad about a song back in the 90s. I was about 11 years old and had bought the new Billy Ray Cyrus tape. One of the songs I listened to repeatedly was Some Gave All, not knowing exactly what it meant, but enjoying the melody. I was in the car with my dad playing my favorite song over and over again while waiting for my sister to get out of a swim meet. He finally turned to me and said, "Heathy, do you know what that song is really about?" And of course, because I simply knew it all back then, said, "Yeah, being in the Army and fighting a war." But my father began to explain to me in a much more personal way what the important message of the song, "All gave some and some gave all," really meant. Now as an adult, I look back and realize how important that conversation was to me, and probably to my father as well. Not only was he sharing with me the importance of being aware of how much a soldier gives of his or her life, but also showing appreciation to those who serve our country. Being in the Vietnam War, my father and other soldiers were not all received with open arms when they came home from serving their country. And it saddens me to think how alone they must have felt at that moment. I think of how important it is to know it is never too late to honor and support our veterans. My father, a man of very few words, saw a great opportunity to share with his daughter what he felt all gave some and some gave all meant to him. A kind of opportunity we should all take to teach our children the importance of appreciating our veterans. Today we celebrate the men and women from Hartland who gave so much to us without asking for anything in return. Thank you, Hartland Historical Society, for honoring our veterans in this way, and always thank you, veterans, for serving our country.
Thank you, Heather. Our next speaker is Joan Barkowski, a Hartland resident and also served in the 1980s. She will tell us some highlights about her father, Walter Yanchek, who served in the Korean War era and is here today. We have his uniform and many photos on display.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joan Makowski, and I'm here today to introduce my father and his exhibit, my father, Walter Yanchek, and I'd like to tell you, a little bit about his service to this country. Before I tell you about his specific role, I'd like to give you a little background information about the war he served in, the Korean War, better known as the Forgotten War. On June 25, 1950, the Korean War began when 75 soldiers from the North Korean People's Army crossed south of the 38th parallel, the boundary between the Soviet-backed Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the north and the pro-Western Republic of Korea in the south. Fearing the rise of international communism, American troops entered the war in July on behalf of South Korea. With casualties mounting and no real signs of progress, American officials worked feverishly to reach some sort of an armistice agreement with North Korea, fearing that without one, there would be an even wider war and possibly a World War III. On July 27, 1953, the Korean War ended, with a new boundary drawn, a demilitarized zone established, and an agreement that POWs could remain where they wished. America lost 40,000, some say 57,000 soldiers in this war, with over 100,000 wounded. Let us never forget the forgotten war, the Korean War. My father, Walter Yanchek, served during the Korean War. He was born on April 3, 1931, into a family of 7 brothers and 1 sister. After graduating New Britain High School in 1950, he enlisted in the Navy. He told me that he chose the Navy because he wanted to see the world, he heard the food was good, and he hated to march. After finishing basic training in Newport, Rhode Island, he was assigned to the newly commissioned aircraft carrier, the USS Oriskany. While serving on the Oriskany, he indeed got to see the world. He saw the Mediterranean, Sicily, Greece, France, Italy, Spain, Turkey. He served as part of the United Nations Task Force 77 in Korean waters. While at his post as an anti-aircraft gunner, he witnessed the first military aerial jet fight in naval history. 7 communist MiGs versus 4 Oriskany F-9 Panther jets. All F-9 Panther jets returned to the Oriskany safely, while 2 of the MiGs were destroyed. He participated in joint exercises with the Brazilian Navy, and he got to see Cuba, Peru, and Chile. He took part in another first in naval history while aboard the Oriskany. The Oriskany was the first aircraft carrier to travel around Cape Horn, South America, with some of the most treacherous waters in the world. He had the pleasure of befriending the first female assigned to the USS Oriskany, which indeed was a rarity in those times, and who also made it around Cape Horn safely. We'll let you read more about her in my father's part of this exhibit. So at this time, my family and I would like to thank Hartland Historical Society for honoring our veterans, and Joanne Groff for taking the time to interview my dad. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. And it is very interesting stories that Walter experienced and many of the other men that he was with. Now, lastly, Mary Root, as we know, who just did the dance for us, is a Hartland resident. She's going to read a poem/letter from her father, Tim Root, written on military station. He served in the World War II, and he is known to have been a very fun, actually a clown all the time at our Firemen's Parade, and a devoted Memorial Day marcher, and a good supporter of the Historical Society during the renovation of the Gaylord House, as he was a carpenter by trade. Maybe Mary can tell us when the Root family first came to Hartland. We also have a couple of Tim's items upstairs also. So Mary?
Thank you. My dad was in the Army in New Guinea in the Philippines, and he wrote these 3 little poems. I'm only holding it out like this because this is the way it goes, like this. I used to be a civvy, no worries and no fears. I went to work at 9 o'clock to shed no more than tears, sweat. But now, by gosh, 'tis different. The big old sergeant leers. You're in the Army now, old boy, and all you'll drink is beers. I remember well afore I left how Ma had cautioned me that once I got into the Corps, they wouldn't serve much tea.
They told me when I left the Army was gonna be tough, but I soon found out, to my dismay, that that was just a bluff. Musings from a civic middling soldier. The next one is Rookie Hopes. Fall in, fall out. Detail halt, Army din. Forward march, about face. Double time, step up the pace. Sign the payroll, mail call. You're going wrong, get on the ball. Rifles and hand grenades, bayonets with no parades. Blasts of bombs, shrieking shell, all adds up to a living hell. We all had our dreams 2 years behind of laughter, joy, and peace of mind, of quiet green fields and soft sunlight, friendship and love, but not the fright. When, if ever, this is over, we'll return to fields of clover. Come back on that bright day when everybody's had their say, to the mountains and the valleys, to the hills and deep ravines, with a fishing rod and a picnic lunch to troll the shaded streams, to be away from all once more, the sweat, blood, and guts maimed roar, to be beneath the deep blue skies and pines where only cool wind sighs, to hear the falling brook's cool splash, to glimpse a fleeting doe's free dash, to rove deep woods without a care, to gasp the pungent forest air. If all these things I now could do, I'd surely know that grief was through. I'm up at dawn in camp. The grass is dewy, cool, and damp. The sun is bright. I feel delight, a sense of pure inflicted joy that God has made me just a boy. My heart is light and gay. My mind, it seems to me to say, you're free to tramp through mossy glade where only birch provides shade. You may climb the highest pine and have no fear, for you have time. The brook is yours to wade and dam. You'd better hurry, you'll soon be a man. Oh, go across the mountain and through the deep ravine and come upon the pool where you can bathe unseen. Gaze into the azure sky and marvel to him on high. Now don't be coy, he made you a boy. These are his brothers. Stephen, John, and Sis, Graham, and Dad, and Mom, I miss. In days not far hence, will end this putrance. The sight of fear, the smell of death, the sound of pain in every breath, that when day finally does arrive, all the brave will be alive, some shy limb, others whole there, but all will be in that new air, many in spirit, many in mind, whites, Negroes, and all the other million kind. Finished.
Thank you, Mary, for sharing that with us. Okay. That is our first part of our program for today. I hope you've been enjoying it. I just want you to know that you still can get a hamburger, hot dog if you want. The grill's open to 3. We now will have blueberry desserts. Now, don't stampede over there and eat them all. There's plenty for everyone. And we're going to open up the house for you to go in and view. It will be open until 4 o'clock. You're welcome to stay all the way up to that time and enjoy yourself. It's been a pleasure. I thank everyone who's spoken. And someone just gave me a sign, and thank you, Joan, because I have one more thing I want to do, because we had a surprise today. We have Mrs. Pasquarelli with us today, and she's going to do a presentation to the Hartland Historical Society. So, she doesn't. Okay. Ooh. I didn't get the whole story on this. She's saying she's not up to coming up, but I'm going to show you what she brought over to us today. So before I start that, I did want to finish up to say, please do review the military exhibit upstairs. And if you're unable to do that today, we are open on September 8th and October 6th from 2 to 4 if you want to come at that time. So really, thank you all for coming. I'm going to just do this little presentation, and then you'll be on your way to blueberries. Okay. Now, I really didn't get the full story of this, but Anna Laurie Williams, I don't know if anybody knows who Anna Laurie Williams is. Anyone here? Okay. Anna Laurie Williams was a literary agent, and she was out of New York. She had a summer home here in West Hartland. That home is on Highview. It is the stone house right around the bend. Some of you may be familiar with it. Now, as a literary agent, her job was to read books and decide if they'd make a good movie. And she did that. And she would bring writers to West Hartland. Some of those writers were John Steinbeck, Kathleen Winslow, and others. I think John did Mice and Men. So many of these writers came to relax at the house, but also to talk to Anna Laurie Williams. And her husband was there also, and brother-in-laws and other family members would come to this home. It was there at that house that Gone with the Wind, the contract was sold for the movie. There's some very, very interesting other pieces to that. I don't have my article with me. That comes to mind first. Now, my gathering is, I don't know, did she receive this from Anna Laurie?
Her brother-in-law made it.
Okay, so my understanding, I'm going to take it out. That Anna Laurie's brother-in-law made this by hand. And obviously you can see what it is a piano. Now in those times, those that had lived at that time, many people were very musical, and for their entertainment, they had their piano. They had their guitar players. They knew their songs, and that's what they did in their living room or whatever. They entertained each other. And at the home in West Hartland, there was the barn that they turned into the play barn. And the kids from the neighborhood would come down. Bill Anstead, Grace Jones. I'm sure others in the audience that are familiar with the play barn. But they would create little skits. And every other week they would put the skits on for the neighbors, etc. So again, they did their own music. And so maybe that is very close to Hartland here, being that we had that happening in West Hartland. And my understanding is at that time it used to be, of course, vinyl, or records, if those of you know what that is, that used to crank in order to make it work. And that was sort of, Bill Anstead was the music director, and he would crank and make sure the music happened while they were putting the skits on, and they created their own costumes, etc. And this all happened with Anna Laurie Williams in that home. And like I say, other writers, etc., that would visit. So Mrs. Pasquarelli has presented this to the Hartland Historical Society today for us to put on permanent display, and I will display it proudly along with that story and your information. So I will, if you will, Mrs. Pasquarelli, you want to wave so I know who you are? Mrs. Pasquarelli lives on Mill Street, has been a lifelong resident of Hartland.